Just 20 kilometers away from Amman lies Baqaa Refugee Camp, the biggest Palestinian camp in Jordan, with over a population of 100,000 people, coming mostly from the second wave of Palestinian displacements that happened in 1967. The camp hosts the majority of Palestinians coming from the West Bank and Gaza.
In an exclusive report, the Media Line takes you into the Baka camp to understand the daily lives of the refugees and why the camp still exists.
الحياة في المخيم تتعارض مع هاي الأبعاد الثلاث.
Baka camp is not just a humanitarian issue, it's a political one. The camp represents the unresolved Palestinian question and the ongoing denial of the right of return. Refugees are not living with dignity, and basic services continue to deteriorate. The situation in the camp is tough. There's unemployment, a lack of opportunities, and high population density. All of this fuels poverty and frustration. Still, many people choose to stay because they feel a strong sense of belonging, hold on to memories, and fear that leaving might mean giving up on their cause.
Generations have now grown up knowing no other home, yet still find themselves without citizenship or rights. Political activist and camp resident Mohammed Shafut describes the daily consequences.
We have generations who still live without a national number, without citizenship. Young people feel lost. They can't pursue higher education or work in the formal sector. It's as if they don't exist. This is a political issue, not just a humanitarian one. The Palestinian in Jordan has rights and duties, but the ex-Gazan has no rights, no nationality, and no political representation. It's both legal and human marginalization.
This marginalization stems from a complicated history. While most Palestinians in Jordan after 1948 received citizenship, those who came from Gaza after 1967 didn't.
After the 1967 war, Palestinians were considered part of the Jordanian social fabric. There were efforts to integrate them politically and economically, but over time, the policy shifted. Today, there's a deliberate effort to create distance. There's a fear in Jordan of being overwhelmed by Palestinian identity. Even among those who are citizens, there's a feeling that if you're of Palestinian origin, you're a second-tier Jordanian. And for those without citizenship, the separation is total.
Hamada Farahane, political writer, former advisor to Yasser Arafat, and former member of the Jordanian parliament, offers context from Amman's perspective.
العنوان الأول هو النشاط الدبلوماسي السياسي.
Today, Jordan wants to maintain its sovereignty and avoid being seen as an alternative homeland for Palestinians. That's why the government maintains a distinction, not just on paper, but in actual policy. It's a way to protect Jordan's national identity, but it leaves many Palestinians feeling excluded. The official narrative says we support the Palestinian cause, but the daily reality for refugees in the camps tells a much more complicated story.
The ex-Gazans remain a stateless population. They arrived in Jordan with no national documentation and remain outside of the citizenship system.
The ex-Gazans weren't registered with the UN Relief and Works Agency as refugees from the West Bank. They were left without Egyptian nationality and without Jordanian nationality. That left them stateless, living in Jordan, but not part of the system. The ex-Gazan can't own land, can't vote, can't work in the government, and is deprived of many basic rights. And despite all this, many still say, we are Palestinian, and we will not give up our identity.
UNRWA, the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, provides basic services in camps like Baka, but its future is increasingly uncertain.
UNRWA was created to serve the refugees until they could return, but now its role is shrinking. Funding cuts are hitting education, healthcare, and sanitation. People feel abandoned, especially the younger generation.
Political life inside Baka reflects broader shifts. For decades, the Muslim Brotherhood was one of the few actors providing services, but things have changed.
The Muslim Brotherhood played a major role in the camp, especially in education and charity. They stepped in to fill the gap left by official institutions. But today, political awareness has shifted. People are critical of everyone, the PA, Hamas, and the traditional parties. Young people feel disconnected. We don't have the authority to resolve these legal issues in the host countries. The situation of the ex-Gazans is complicated. We've raised it many times, but without cooperation from Jordan and the international community, we're stuck. We're trying to preserve the rights of the refugees, but our hands are tied. We can't offer citizenship, and we're not allowed to operate freely in the diaspora. Oslo limited us geographically, and the international community limited us politically.
Even within the Palestinian territories, the PA's credibility is shrinking. Its control is limited.
The PA became isolated, and Israel played a role in that too. Now it governs only from Ramallah. It has no real presence in Gaza, not in Jerusalem, and not in the diaspora. That's a big shift from the days of Arafat, who led from exile, from Tunisia, from the battlefield, and from the political arena. Abbas lost touch with the people. There are no elections, no inclusion of the refugees. The Palestinian movement needs renewal, not just management. We need to include the diaspora in any future strategy. Jordan alone hosts millions of Palestinians. Leaving them out of the national conversation weakens our cause and deepens the divisions among our people.
Meanwhile, another war in Gaza highlights the growing disconnect between the leadership and the people.
The PA wasn't part of this conflict, and it has no influence in Gaza. It's speaking from the outside while the Palestinian street is moving on. If we don't rebuild our institutions and restore national unity, we'll lose our voice entirely. People in Baka support Gaza, but they also feel like their own lives have been forgotten. Young people ask, who represents us? Who defends our rights? And the answer today is no one.
The question for those in Baka and across the Palestinian diaspora is how much longer they can wait for change.
You can't ask people to wait forever. Either you give them rights where they are, or you offer them a path to return. But leaving them stateless and voiceless, that's not justice. The camps must be part of the future, not just relics of the past. If we want a real solution, we have to listen to the people who have lived this reality their entire lives.
Baka camp is more than a place of shelter. It's a reminder that for millions of Palestinians, exile is not over. The right of return remains debated. Citizenship remains denied, and the question where some belong remains still unanswered.
From Baqaa Refugee Camp, Jordan, Giorgia Valente reporting for the Media Line.